Good morning, I'm Chef Michelle Bernstein here to take the luck out of potluck. Don't know what to take to potluck dinner? Well, join me today for some great dishes to make, dishes covered or not, that are perfect for any potluck dinner. Right now on SoFlo Taste. How fun is that? Good morning all, I'm Chef Michelle Bernstein in the Goya Kitchen at Junior Achievement of South Florida in Coconut Creek, and welcome to SoFlo Taste. Do you have a go-to dish for a potluck dinner, but your go-to has become gone to? So today I thought it would be fun to give you some great recipes that ensure you'll not be bringing your potluck pot home with leftovers in it. So let's get cooking. The first thing we're gonna make is everybody's favorite macaroni and cheese, and it will be very simple. All right, so we're gonna make a cheesy bechamel. So I'll start out with a little bit of butter, and we are going to make a roux. So melting the butter, I'm gonna add shallots. Now, if you have onions, sweet onions are perfectly fine. I love shallots. They are always in my kitchen, and to me, this is the perfect beginning to a great cheese sauce. So we're gonna sweat the shallots. You don't want to get any color on them at all. And while I start this, I'm actually going to start the topping to my mac and cheese. So instead of baking a topping, I'm actually going to do a crazy cheese topping of 3 different cheeses all over the mac, and we're gonna do a fun, cheesy, crunchy topping to go on top of that. But your guests can either put it on themselves or you can put it on for them, it's up to you. So more butter is going into another pan. Once that melts, I'll be adding some panko breadcrumbs. For that, I also have some hand-grated Parmesan cheese. Pecorino would also be great for that too, but you want everything to have cheese in it because that is the theme of macaroni and cheese. All right, the shallots are soft and translucent, so now we're gonna go ahead and add our flour to start the roux. Flour is always the same part as butter, equal parts. Mix that in, it'll get a little pasty. Now this is not a very thick roux, and the reason for that is we want our mac and cheese to be creamy, not totally solid. So this has all come together. I'm not gonna give it much color because the darker the roux gets, the more intense it becomes. And we're just looking for everything to come together really nicely. So now I'm gonna add my cream and let that heat through. I already have elbow macaroni made here. You have to make that ahead of time. I would always cook it al dente, which is with a little bit of a bite, because then by the time you bake this whole thing together, it will definitely get too soggy. My butter is melted in my topping pan, so I'm gonna add the Japanese breadcrumb. Go ahead and mix it up a little bit and season that with salt and pepper. And season your cream mixture with salt and pepper as well. If you're fancy, use white pepper. If not, use black. I'm obviously not fancy today. Then you can flavor your mac and cheese how you wish. I'm gonna add a little bit of hot sauce into mine. You can use your everybody has a favorite hot sauce, right? So I know that ours might be very different. Now watch this breadcrumb pan because these breadcrumbs tend to get a lot of color really quickly. And let's just make sure that all of that flour is now being distributed amongst my beautiful cream. All right, last thing. If you want to, you can add a little bit of dry mustard. I love a little bit. I don't like too much. I actually don't even know it's there when I eat it, but I love that it is in there. So these breadcrumbs just need a little more time to get color, so I'm gonna keep that really nice and low. Over here, our cream mixture has come together. It's beginning to thicken. So this is how we're gonna do this. I'm gonna shut the heat off. So in here, I've got cheddar, Gruyere, and Parmesan. I like to combine a little bit of white with a little bit of orange cheese just for the color because the kids love that color. you really want flavor in your macaroni and cheese, I would actually add really good cheese, and I would grate it myself, because when you buy grated cheese, there's a lot of additives in there so that it's shelf stable, and what you really want is just cheese, right? And so that's all this is. So mix that in. Again, the heat is off. You don't need the heat to be on. All that residual heat that's kept up in that cream mixture will melt this cheese beautifully, as it already has. Then we're going to go ahead and add our noodle to the mixture. So what we're going to do here to make it even better is we're going to take the rest of this cheese and delicately place it over the top of our macaroni and cheese, and just wait. When you come back, this should be oozy and gooey and delicious. Our breadcrumbs will be ready. By the way, now it's time to put the Parmesan in there. Come right back, because I'm taking the Let's Add a Potluck.
There's still more from the Goya Kitchen at J.A. World and Michelle.
SoFlo Home Project is next, right here on Local 10.
Thank you, Elena. We'll watch you next here on Local 10. Welcome back to SoFlo Taste, and welcome back inside Junior Achievement of South Florida. And I want to welcome her to her kitchen here at Junior Achievement of South Florida, Audrina Woods, Chief Revenue Officer. Come on over.
Good.
How you doing, Audrina? It's so good to have you.
Thank you for having me.
I'm glad you're here just in time.
I know.
It's potluck, and I got somebody to cook with. This is so much
excited.
fun. All right, I'm excited too. Let's get that mac and cheese out of the oven, and then we can talk a little bit. My mac and cheese is just done. As you can see, there's nothing like the bubbles,
Yes.
right? I love the bubbles. So check it out, everybody. And then, of course, we've got a Parmesan topping. So if you want, you can go ahead and just cover that.
Okay.
So tell me a little bit, Audrina, of what you do here at Junior Achievement World.
Sure. Michelle, at Junior Achievement, I proudly serve as a Chief Revenue Officer. In doing so, it's my job to ensure that we provide all the ideal revenue generation opportunities for within the community, to ensure that our students receive all the real-world experiences related to financial literacy, entrepreneurship, and most important, work readiness development.
Don't I know about that? I think that's wonderful.
Yeah.
And it's really essential for the children. What you're doing here is really getting them ready for the future.
Yeah.
So,
If you think about it, we have this year, we're proud to say we've gone from 70,000 students we're serving to now 73,000 and climbing with our new pre-apprenticeship programs, our additional development programs allowing us to give our students real-world experiences that the business community has been asking for. Now more than ever, students are needed to actually graduate from high school with having a better understanding what their next career path might be.
Right.
And what better way than giving them real-world experiences to find out if they want to become an entrepreneur, if they want to become a chef, if they actually want to actually own their own business, work for another business. But why not leave high school having those experiences?
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
So let's jump into the next recipe. Because
Okay.
I don't have to really teach you about pulled pork because it seems that Audrina comes from
Yes.
a barbecue family, right?
Yes.
From Chicago?
Yes.
Let me start the recipe, and then
Okay.
I want to hear about it.
All right.
So come closer to
Okay.
me, because I'll show you what I do, and don't shake your head in case you don't like it.
Okay.
So I have here a beautiful pork shoulder that's been cut up in about 4 pieces. It's really gorgeous, and it has a beautiful fat cap, which to me is essential to keep the fat cap up, so that obviously a little bit of the fat trickles down as it cooks. For the cure, which to me is everything, I've got a little brown sugar in here. I'm going to add some kosher salt, and to me it's almost like 4 to 1 brown sugar to salt. And then I've got the usual suspects: garlic powder, onion powder. I have 3 kinds of paprika.
Let me take 'em.
Oh, it's okay. Thank you. I've got smoky paprika,
Okay.
regular paprika, and spicy paprika. I've got chili powder, cumin. Can't believe I'm remembering just by the color. Coleman's
Better than
mustard. And finally, black pepper. All right, you want to mix all that up for me?
Sure.
Great. So what you really want is to crust this beautiful pork shoulder. Now, speaking of pork shoulder, you want the best, right? So my friends over at Delaware Chicken Farm and Seafood Market first of all, want me to remind you to get your orders in for your Labor Day cookout and Rosh Hashanah. Delaware Chicken Farm and Seafood Market is located at 4191 North State Road 7 in Hollywood. Go to DelawareChicken.com or call them at 954-983-6831. Place your order. Tell them Michelle sent you. Don't forget, they're closed on Labor Day. And boy, do they deserve that rest. But this pork shoulder is delicious, and that's where it comes from. And I love those guys. All right, so this cure.
Ready?
Now we're just gonna put this all over our shoulder. And I rub it in. And to be honest with you, this should really be done a day or two ahead.
Yes.
2 days is better. If not, that flavor just will not adhere to your pork. So let's pretend that that cure was all over this stuff. So what you're gonna do is place it fat side up into a casserole dish, or really any baking dish you're comfortable using. And you would have it fat side up like so. And then I pour water in there, and I pour it up to about a third of the way up the pork. And I cook it really, really hot. I go like 400 degrees.
Okay.
And I go until it's really like dark caramelized brown. And then I cover it with foil and I let it go at like 325, and I do it until it's really tender. You have one over there.
Want me to bring it over?
Yeah, let's bring it over. And if you want to unwrap that, I'm going to
Okay.
put this down here. Be careful, it's hot. It just came out of the oven. Beautiful.
Nice. Yeah.
So this is what I thought we could do. I have just a really good barbecue sauce. All you have to do is start picking
Okay.
the pork, and you can use tongs, you can use your hands, really up to them, right? So this comes apart very simply.
Yeah.
It's really tender.
Yeah.
And what I love is that it's sitting in its own juice. This becomes a little bit of a barbecue sauce as
Yeah.
well. So I think that the two of us are going to go ahead and keep pulling this. We're going to mix it with a little barbecue sauce, and when you come back, we'll show you how to serve it up at your favorite potluck.
Nice.
Be back in a moment with this beautiful woman, so don't go away.
Come on back.
SoFlo Taste will return right after this. Welcome back to SoFlo Taste. All of my recipes are available on the SoFlo Show's webpage. Just scan this quick response code, you'll zip on over to the fabulous SoFlo Show's page. You'll also see this QRC on the ingredient list throughout the show. Now back to my guest, Audrina Woods, Junior Achievement of South Florida Chief Revenue Officer and SoFlo Taste, making potluck dishes. Hey.
Hello.
Yay, I need my helper. You're so good, Audrina.
Thank you.
All right, so let me show everybody
Okay.
real quickly what Audrina's done. She's picked all the meat for me. Thank you for pulling that beautifully.
Anytime.
Now she's going to mix it with
Okay.
as much barbecue sauce as you want. Doesn't
right.
have to be at all.
Okay.
And then we've got a little coleslaw, and she's going to be building sandwiches while I jump into my next potluck. So I don't know anybody that doesn't like tres leches, which is 3 milks, which is the soaking liquid for the cake. It's interesting, if you ask Latin people where it comes from, we will all tell you different countries. Everybody makes it differently. All right, so let's just jump in and make the most perfect sponge cake for it. And then I'll talk about the topping as you mix that. So the first thing I'm gonna do is whip some of the sugar into the yolks. I'm also going to add, Audrina, if you have a clean hand, can you just add the baking powder, salt into that
Sure.
flour just with that
Yep.
whisk? Thank you, my love. So I'm gonna mix this until it's a paler color. When it becomes pale, I'm adding a little vanilla paste as well as a little milk to it. Okay. So I have a question for you
Yep.
because, you know, Junior Achievement, you guys are always moving and shaking
Yes.
it up and growing. What's going on now, if there's any changes, and then what's on the horizon?
Sure. So we're making sure that our programs, whether it's 5th grade, 8th grade, high school, and our young adult pre-apprenticeship programs are that much more impactful.
Okay.
So we've met through the summer to make sure that we've listened to the survey responses from our students, our teachers, as well as even our donors and our partners, to make sure that our programs are that much more robust,
Okay.
providing real-world experiences, and making sure we're preparing them for the next opportunities when they leave high school and preparing for that next career pathway. So for this upcoming year, we're going to reach out to more students. It's been asked of us to have greater demand. There's a greater need for those work readiness skill sets. Our CEO, Lori Salarue, is making sure that we are there to not only meet the needs, but excel with those needs and preparing those students.
That's wonderful. All right, so I have placed the egg yolk mixture over the flour mixture, and I'm just combining that. The last thing I do is make a meringue. So these have to be really clean, the whisks on the mixer.
Okay.
They have to be incredibly clean, the beaters, because if not, your egg whites will not get really stiff. Once these begin getting stiff, I'm going to add the rest of the sugar to it, and then I'll fold it into the egg yolk mixture. So look how beautiful this is, what Audrina has done. So I've asked her to split up. Not everybody likes coleslaw on their pulled pork sandwiches, right? So half, we got to do this, please, skewers. So half of them have just the pulled pork, the other half have the coleslaw. You can also always just serve a bunch of pulled pork, right, next to some buns, next to some sauce, and let people make it themselves. But I think that this is gorgeous. Let's everybody see the difference between your coleslawless and coleslaw filled. All right, have you ever folded?
No.
So baking is not really something that you do much of?
No.
Okay. So what we do is, it's called a fold for a reason. And it's funny, I think there was a comedy I watched once. Like, the one thing they got stuck on is, what does folding mean? It truly means to fold it over, right? So you can even start in the middle or one end, it doesn't really matter. And you fold over. And you allow that batter from the bottom
to come up.
Start coming up, and you'll see little ribbons of it. But you never want to go crazy mixing, because that will obviously diffuse the egg white's brilliance.
Okay.
Well,
Thank you.
do it.
All righty.
All right. Luckily, I have one baked already. So this one baked, and this is what it looks like. And what you do is, you take a big old skewer or a little one, and you just poke as many holes as you possibly can all over this gorgeous sponge cake, because you want it to absorb the tres leches, the 3 milks. So what are the 3 milks? In this container, I have a little bit of regular milk. Then to it, I'm going to add sweetened condensed milk. This is the only sugar that we add to the soaking liquid, and trust me, it is more than enough. So start by mixing that together and making sure that it becomes homogeneous. Once it is homogeneous, you go ahead and add the evaporated milk to that. And there you have it. That easy. It's really all in the cake. You want the cake to be great. And then you pour this whole thing over the cake, and then you throw it in your fridge. And eventually, all of the liquid goes to the bottom. Yeah. And then it looks like, and here it is. And I want to thank Audrina Woods. You are so delightful.
Thank
I wish
you for
you could be
having
with
me.
me always. I'm going to go ahead and make this pretty while they go away, and when they come back, magic.
All right. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. And thank you for everything you do for these kids and for Junior Achievement. And we love this place.
Thank you.
So thank you.
We
And
can't
you
do
all are
without the
wonderful.
community, so thank you.
True. Community is everything.
Yes.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Welcome back to SoFlo Taste and my beautiful potluck food. So, remember I told you how to combat that sweetness of the 3 milk cake, the tres leches? So I just make whipped cream without any sugar. So the topping is traditionally whipped cream, and a lot of people sweeten their whipped cream, but why bother when you have so much sweetness on the bottom? So I love to top it with some fancy cherries. Now, a lot of people just use maraschino, but I'm actually using some really great cherries that I found at the market. I hope I've given you some new ideas on what to take to your potluck dinner. Pretty sure the attendees will be asking for the recipe, and you can tell them that it's yours. I won't tell a thing, unless that is if we're at the same potluck dinner. And I want to thank Audrina Woods for helping today in her kitchen. She's a great representative for a great organization. Now let's make a date to meet next week for some quick dinners. I'll be giving you recipes to get you out of the kitchen sooner so you can help with homework. Simple school night dinners on the next SoFlo Taste. Now it's time to check in with design expert Elena Capra, host of SoFlo Home Project. Good morning, Elena. What's on your menu this morning?
Hi, Michelle. Good morning. So today we're going to show you how to refresh any room in your home without breaking the budget. Coming up on SoFlo Home Project, we'll show you how to bring big impact to any space in your home.
Okay, Elena, we'll be watching So Taste Buds again. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next week for a simple, quick school night dinner. Goodbye, mwah, and very good taste. There's no luck in potluck.